So then Gene Okerlund is backstage with Money Incorporated. We see footage of the Money Incorporated turning on Jimmy Hart and hitting Beefcake with IRS's briefcase. This is after Beefcake had attempted to make a comeback to the ring after his paragliding or parasailing or whatever the hell it is accident in which his face had basically been rearranged and they had to do a major surgery on it. DiBiase says that they don't make bets that they can't win. He says that they can't be bankrupted as they have unlimited funds. IRS says they're going to take Beefcake's mask off and beat his face into a bloody pulp. They also allude to Hogan's black eye, suggesting that they paid someone to attack Hogan coming out of the gym. We'll talk about his black eye in a moment. Now, the whole build up to this was indeed Beefcake trying to come back. The thing is, we'd seen Beefcake at WrestleMania 8 the year before, and his parasailing, gliding, whatever it is, accident had happened the year before, which, as we discussed a little while ago, Stephen, kept him out of the SummerSlam match he was going to have with Mr. Perfect after Perfect became Intercontinental Champion. So they were mucking around a little bit with the timeline here because obviously Beefcake had been around. Although I guess in fairness, at that WrestleMania 8, before WrestleMania 8 on the barbershop interview segment, there was that moment where Sid got in Beefcake's face and there was concern that he would attack Beefcake and didn't. So I guess they kind of kept a bit of consistency there. But ultimately, this was another whole year after that they really started to use that as a storyline device. Any thoughts on the promo or the build to this match?
I just thought Ted looked absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. White and gold suit, World Tag Team title belt. Crikey, this guy was phenomenally good looking in Mid-South or UWF in like 85, 86 and before that. Now, still oldie but a goodie here. Crikey, what an absolute gorgeous hero. That's my only thought on this. Other than this angle, again, WWF Mania didn't get Raw. The Beefcake stuff was heavy duty when I remember watching this at the time. Like the Doink one was that you pointed out earlier on. There were some heavy angles around this time for this WrestleMania.
Well, I saw a lot of this stuff on the 1993 review of the year in review VHS originally. So like that was the way you could watch much more in one go. You didn't have to necessarily get the pay-per-views. You could get the VHS, which is the review of the year. And they were really quite good, actually. They gave you quite about a 3-hour kind of overview of everything that had taken place. And because there weren't huge amounts of angles, like it's not like today where every single episode you get angles and whatnot. It was almost like even on Raw back then, you maybe get one angle every 2 or 3 weeks, that was worth anything, that was important of any kind. So you kind of could get to see everything. And that was on there. And I always remember this feeling quite impressive, the whole build to it, the angle itself, because they really made a big thing of Beefcake and the fact that his face had been crushed and all the rest of it, and all that stuff. So that was really good. Then the match itself, and as they come to the ring, Hogan is indeed sporting a pretty nasty black eye. Now, this is the stuff of myth and legend and goodness knows what else. So they explain it away, as we said, as if the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and IRS paid somebody to attack Hogan as he came out of the gym. Now, I'm very quickly scrambling my 25 years of WrestleMania, 35 years, sorry.
I could see it coming and I'm excited. I'm really excited about this. Are they going kayfabe or are they going non-kayfabe?
Well, they're going a bit of everything because I think there's kayfabe behind the kayfabe in regards to this. So they talk about the fact that Hogan has had a jet ski accident the day before, and that they even talk about that. So this is what they've said. As WWE stood poised to take over Las Vegas with WrestleMania, an unexpected issue arose. Hulk Hogan suffered a jet ski accident near his home in Florida, badly injuring the left side of his face. It was uncertain if the Hulkster would be able to perform. Though Hogan was a late addition to the program, not sure what I mean by that, WWE worried about the effect of pulling him from the event. After all, Hogan was the biggest name in the history of the company. Because of his drawing power, WWE decided to announce the possible change to their pay-per-view audience and ticket holders, offering refunds if necessary. They felt it was the only correct thing to do for the fans and for their event partner, Caesar's Palace. Now, I doubt any of that actually happened. I don't believe for a second they suggested Hogan might not be on the show. I certainly don't remember anything from the time. I've gone back and watched, as I said, lots of the shows at the time. There was definitely nothing on at that time saying that was the case. So yeah, Hogan, according to WWE's official account, is the jet ski thing. They talk about the fact that they kind of baked into the storyline with the $1 Million Man, etc., and the gym attack. But of course, there is an alternative theory or idea about how this all happened.
Who punched him?
Well, according to Jim Cornette, this is from Randy Savage punched him when he found out that Elizabeth was staying with Hulk and Linda at their home. And so Savage confronted him and punched him in the face. Now, I don't know what to believe here because, to be honest, he's only got, I mean, it's a nasty looking black eye, but it is just a black eye. There's nothing else. And there's no other sense that in his face he's like taken a major blow from a jet ski. That seems like a Hogan kind of being Hogan going, look how strong I am. I managed to stand up to a jet ski and I'm still standing. So a punch seems much more likely to me. But, you know, I'm considering the source and it's very difficult to decide who to believe. But one way or the other, those are the stories that are out there. So you can either believe the kayfabe version or the behind the kayfabe version or the ultra behind the kayfabe version. Is up to you. I leave the choice to yourselves.
I really hope Randy decked him, and he deserved it. Deserved everything he'd done. Randy said on commentary when he came out and saw the black eye, it had to be a cheap shot, which takes on a very different meaning if he actually did do it, which I like even more. But yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know, will we?
So this match then is a 18-minute match for the WWF Tag Team Championships. It's Money Inc. defending against the Mega Maniacs. They have Jimmy Hart in their corner because as part of this angle, Jimmy Hart showed compassion towards Beefcake, tried to stop Money Inc. from smashing him over the head with IRS's briefcase. The end, though, comes when the ref goes down. Hogan gets the hot tag. Hogan hits Money Inc. with Beefcake's face mask because it previously been taken off by Money Inc. Jimmy Hart then gets in, turns his jacket inside out to reveal a striped jacket and pins Money Inc. as if he's the referee. He then hands them the title belts, but another ref gets in and DQs the Mega Maniacs. After the match, the Money Inc. try to attack the Mega Maniacs, but they are run off. Jimmy Hart then throws Danny Davis, who is the referee for this match, over the top rope, and Beefcake and Hogan strut and pose after the match. What did we think of this one, Matt?
Well, it was another one of those finishes, which I just don't need to keep harping on about. But my God, it wasn't good. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure the ref didn't actually see the weapon shot because he was down, wasn't he?
Probably not.
Yeah, which I was thinking, what the fuck? How?
It felt very messy, I thought.
Yeah, because then the other ref comes out and DQ. I was like, what? I was like, you didn't see what happened? And God forbid, maybe he was watching a monitor in the back, as they often do, I suppose. But yeah, I can't say the finish was great. I mean, the one thing that they did do that I did like, and they've done it before, and I love it. It's great. And it's probably just a mess up, but Hogan will start beating people up while his music still plays, which I just think is so great. Every time I see Hogan kicking ass in the ring while Real American is playing, screw the match.
It's not a mistake. And I think what it is that basically he's come out, the heels attack him. He then gets the upper hand, throws them out, and finishes his entrance. That's the idea.
It's great. Honestly, I'd be so happy if this keeps going, but I know we probably won't see that much of it now. But yeah, I've loved that. For me, that's one of the best things in his matches. Like I said earlier on, I mean, for me, this felt like a come down for Hogan. This sort of spot, it didn't feel natural to me to see him in sort of a roll halfway down the card. It didn't quite feel right. And in the match itself, I mean, it felt a couple of times that they were building up to the hot tag to Brutus. I was like, really? I was thinking, surely again, Hogan is probably going to be the star of this. And to see Brutus get the hot tag once or twice, I thought that was odd. But as a match, it was actually, it wasn't good. To be honest, it was actually quite bad. Quite long, boring. There wasn't much to it. I mean, Hogan's selling, to be fair again, is just top notch. I mean, it did drag a little bit when he was selling being choked by the tag rope for bloody ages. It went on for far too long. But yeah, like I said, that finish just wasn't great. I mean, one thing that did make me laugh was Hogan did do, I'm sure they reference it as an Undertaker sit-up, which it did make me laugh. He did do the old sit-up. This wasn't a great match, unfortunately.
The officiating was terrible throughout because the original ref decided to go against years of tradition and just make up in the middle of the match that Money Inc. would lose the titles if it was a count out, which is a complete farce.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
so
indeed.
I'm gonna say something on this. I like this because my issue with this is that, so we had it at WrestleMania 8, right, where Money Inc. walked away from the ring to get intentionally counted out so that the Natural Disasters couldn't win the belts. Now, I know that would have happened before, but let's just say that was the first time it ever happened, okay? At that point, any other sport of any kind would have worked to close that loophole. They would have gone, you know what, actually, if you intentionally do it, you're going to get stripped of the belts. That's just going to be a thing. So I quite like that if you follow that logic through from what happened the previous year, that the referee was responding to that and going, you're not getting away with it again. You're going to lose the title. So I quite like that. I mean, I do question how the referee himself had the right to make that ruling, but I do quite like that factor, because I just think I think the fact that you could do that, the fact that you can intentionally get counted out or disqualified is a ridiculous thing. I think it's good if you've had it done once. But I think once it's done once, the response should be, we're closing that loophole. You can't do that again.
Got to do it pre-match, haven't you? Make it
well, no, but I mean, that's my point.
Yeah.
You're right. That's why I kind of question the referee's decision to do it. But I think ultimately what should have happened straight after WrestleMania 8 is Tunney should have been like, well, you can't do it. We're not allowing that to happen again. If you do that, anybody tries to do that again, they'll be stripped of their belts.
Useless Jack Tunney. Matt, I actually think that this was the role for Hulk Hogan in 1993. I think that put the titles on him and Beefcake and build up tag team matches on pay-per-views, build up the World Tag Team title again, and then you haven't got the shadow of Hogan over the main event picture. And this, do you know what? I don't know if it's just me but when I was a kid, stuff like this would really intrigue me. So Hulk Hogan, the WWF multi-time WWF champion, being tag team champion would really intrigue me. That sort of thing appealed to me. And I think that appeals to, it's always something different with Hogan. And I think that's what the company was crying out for. And I think if you book this show, you had Tatanka win the opener as Intercontinental Champion, you had Hogan and Beefcake win these titles, and then you had Brett win the end. How does WrestleMania 9 then look? I think that's a happy show. I think people are coming away from this with, we've got this new thing with Hogan. The tag team titles probably never been more promoted. You got Brett winning the main event. I think it would have been a great place. But as it was, this was, it kind of dragged a bit for me. And I thought Hogan and Beefcake celebrating after the Jimmy Hart count was so stupid. It's like, come on, guys. Disappointing, really.
I mean, it wasn't a good match. I question. I mean, I think you're right. I quite like the idea of Hogan and Beefcake winning the tag titles and then having matches against, the Head Shrinkers or whoever else, is in the tag team scene at the time. Hell, the Steiner Brothers, that would be fun. Quebecers later in the year, that works as well. The French Canadians against Hulk Hogan, it builds itself. It's easy. But I do question this in terms of if they've had always planned to have Hogan effectively not win the titles with Beefcake here. I do question the choice to go with Money Inc. It feels just like a retread of so much ground already, gone through with Hogan and DiBiase. You feel like if you're going to have Hogan on the big show, I always feel like put him with somebody young and new and someone that his reflected glory can actually benefit them. I just don't see why you put him up against Ted DiBiase and IRS, Ted DiBiase in particular, who's going to retire before the end of this year. It just feels like a waste of something which you could use for somebody else. That put him up against the Head Shrinkers, and suddenly the Head Shrinkers feel more important than they do as a sort of almost opening match tag outfit as they were at the time. So yeah, that's what I questioned, and it just felt tired.
Yeah.
It just felt tired right from the start because it's DiBiase. As much as I like the angle, I just feel like you could have done that same angle with anyone. You didn't need IRS and Ted DiBiase to do that angle. And yeah, it just feels tired because we've done it. We've done Hogan and DiBiase countless times. We've had Hogan and Beefcake against people countless times of that era. So let's give them somebody new and young and make it a bit more fresh and interesting.
I think you could have, again, I don't want to fancy book too much, but you could have had Hogan and Beefcake as tag champions. You could have done the Luger stuff with Yokozuna and had another babyface. Like, let these babyfaces be, popular and winning, and that's okay. You can have I think Roman Reigns is the exception to this rule, but I do think your top babyface in the promotion is the one you need to try and protect almost the most. I think I would put that as 1, and then the top heel as 1A, unless you've got a heel so good that you're going to go heel promotion like Reigns and he's just going to win and win and win and win, build up the actual eventual loss. But then that in history, if I think about that historically, can't really think of too many heels that have had that role. Who is it? Because Undertaker was obviously a babyface, had a similar sort of thing in the streak.
It's not in WWE, but Flair ultimately.
Yeah, but he lost a lot though. Flair, I suppose, is the only thing.
Did.
Like if you look at his
Did.
reigns, they weren't.
He'd always
kind
win
of,
the belt back though.
Yeah, he would.
Very
he
quickly.
Would.
You know, it wasn't
Yeah,
like a long-term thing. So
yeah,
Flair is the obvious answer there, I would suggest. And maybe Harley Race as well. Was he mainly a heel?
I think so. Yeah.
So maybe Harley Race too, but certainly not in WWF. That's just not what they did historically. They just didn't do it. It is bizarre, because they're getting this long reign at this time, like almost a year long. I mean, obviously it had this hiccup where Hogan beat him, and then he had to beat him back at King of the Ring, but effectively a year as champion, and it was a strange period of time. But they did go in that direction, though, Stephen. That's the weird thing. They did do it. It's just that they didn't do it with the people you're talking about. So they did have Luger, they did have Undertaker, they did have Brett. And they were the three biggest stars in the company, and they were all protected. And then 95 comes along, Undertaker, Brett, Diesel, Shawn Michaels, they're all baby faces. They're all main event guys. There's no heels. That's why Babel ended up bloody going in the main event at SummerSlam. Like, there's just nothing. There's just no heel. So I think they did go in that direction. It's just that I think that they didn't do it with maybe Hogan, for example, at the time.